There are some things in this world, some pieces of information that should never be found. They're like digital landmines, waiting in the dark corners of the internet for an unlucky soul to stumble upon them. Our story today is about one such mine, a file so terrifying that its very existence defies logic. This is the story of the DeadHour File, case 100-8233-3TX, also known as the lost feedback loop. It all started innocently enough, if you can call anything in the digital abyss innocent. An orphaned data packet was discovered on a heavily encrypted server, a ghost in the machine with no origin and no destination. Inside this packet was a single audio file, just 47 seconds long, named Omega-1. But this was no ordinary file. It was locked in a perpetual loop, playing itself over and over again, an endless, self-contained cycle of sound. When analysts first opened Omega-1, they were met with a wall of high-frequency white noise, a relentless, grating hiss that seemed designed to push listeners to their limits. It was an auditory assault, pure static. But hidden within the noise was something else. Once per cycle, a single fleeting burst of sound would break through the static. It was a human voice, heavily distorted, frantic, and filled with a terror that was palpable even through layers of digital corruption. For weeks, technicians and audio engineers threw everything they had at it, trying to clean up the recording, to decipher the words, to trace the source of the voice. But the file resisted all attempts. The voice was a ghost, a spectral echo that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. It was a dead end. The lead investigator on the case, a seasoned agent known only as Agent K, was a man of logic and reason. After weeks of fruitless analysis, he put forward a theory. The voice, he suggested, was likely just a random artifact, a glitch caused by the file's own corruption. It was a convenient explanation, a way to file the anomaly away and move on. But deep down, no one was truly satisfied. That voice, however brief, felt too real, too desperate to be a simple glitch. The investigation dragged on into its fourth month. The team was getting nowhere, listening to the same 47-second loop day in and day out. The endless white noise was beginning to take its toll, fraying nerves and shortening tempers. Agent K, meticulous as ever, continued to document every tiny detail, every observation, no matter how insignificant it seemed. And that's when he noticed something chilling. He was reviewing the playback logs when the pattern emerged. The distorted voice, that single burst of panic, wasn't random at all. It always occurred at the exact same moment in the loop, precisely 3.2 seconds after the playback was initiated. Every single time. 3.2 seconds. It was a constant, a fixed point in the chaos. To anyone else, it might have seemed like another trivial detail, an irrelevant quirk of the corrupted file. But to Agent K, it was a loose thread. And he knew that if you pull on a thread, sometimes the entire tapestry unravels. He couldn't shake the feeling that this 3.2-second delay was important. It felt deliberate, a clue. He decided to conduct a new test, something different. He needed to see the playback happen in real time, to observe the entire process from start to finish. From the physical action of pressing play to the moment the voice appeared. He set up the experiment in a secure, isolated observation room. The room was soundproofed, a small, sterile space with a single console in the center. The only light came from the monitor and a small red recording light on the wall, indicating that all audio and video in the room was being captured. Agent K sat alone in the quiet of the observation room, the Omega-1 file queued up on the screen. The air was thick with anticipation. He took a deep breath, his heart pounding a little faster than usual. He leaned forward in his chair, his hand outstretched, his finger hovering over the play button on the console. The moment his finger made contact, the test began. The speakers hissed to life, flooding the room with that all-too-familiar stream of high-frequency white noise. 1 second, 3, and then it happened. Right on schedule, 3.2 seconds after he pressed the button, the voice burst from the speakers. But this time, something was different. Horrifyingly different. The distortion, the static that had shrouded the voice for months, was gone. It was suddenly, impossibly clear. The forensics team, monitoring the test from a separate location, scrambled to analyze the clean signal. What they found would be documented in the case file as the moment the investigation turned from a digital puzzle into a living nightmare. The voice was his. It was Agent K's own voice, screaming from the speakers with a raw, primal terror that chilled everyone who heard it to the bone. And the words he screamed were a message, a desperate, impossible warning. "I'm in the observation room. The red light is on. Don't press the play button, K. Don't press it. They're here." The realization hit Agent K like a physical blow, stealing the air from his lungs. He was in the observation room. He looked up, and his eyes fell on the small, glowing red light on the wall, confirming they were recording. He had just pressed the play button. The message wasn't a warning from the past. It wasn't a pre-recorded message at all. It was a live feed. An echo of the immediate future. The file, Omega 1, was a trap. A self-fulfilling prophecy captured in a 47-second loop. The frantic cry for help wasn't recorded years ago in some unknown location. It was recorded right there, in that room, by Agent K himself, in the seconds after he pressed play. The file was designed to broadcast his own terror back at him, just moments before he experienced it. Think about it. Every analyst who ever opened the file would be caught. You press play. You hear the white noise. 3.2 seconds later, you hear a distorted voice. You spend months trying to figure it out. You get frustrated. You decide to run one last test in an isolated room. You lean forward, you press the play button, and 3.2 seconds later, you hear your own voice, suddenly clear, screaming a warning not to do the very thing you just did. And in that moment of horrified realization, as you look around the room and see the red light is on, you understand. The file has just recorded your scream, your warning. It has just updated itself. It has just folded you into its loop. The DeadHour File confirms that the file doesn't just predict the future, it creates it. It's a continuous, inescapable auditory feedback loop of terror. The file captures the investigator's final, panicked moments and then plays them back for the next person, who will inevitably be the investigator themselves, moments before they make the same fatal mistake. For Agent K, and for anyone who follows, the file isn't just a recording. It's a recurring nightmare, a personal hell where you are forever trapped, listening to an echo of your own doom, just seconds before you cause it to happen all over again. The file is still out there, on some forgotten server, waiting. And the loop continues. Don't press play.